Topping today's news, members of Parliament remember the late Obie Welshcombe on their return to the House. The country suffers its 80th murder for the year after a man is shot and killed in the Malcolm Road area. Despite concerted efforts, the Bahamas remains on the EU's blacklist, and 2 correction officers arrested after being found with suspected marijuana at the prison. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn. This is your Jcn Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us. Returning to the House of Assembly this morning to do the people's business, the first time since the passing of the late Obie Welshcombe, who died on Monday, September 25th, members of Parliament honored the life of the late Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, who also served as Minister of Social Services and Information, as well as Broadcasting. They remembered him in a moment of silence before paying tribute. Glennis Hannah Martin, Member of Parliament for Anglerston and close friend of the late minister, emotionally moved a resolution acknowledging and honoring the memory of the broadcasting and political giant.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the House of Assembly of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, do hereby express and publicly put on the record of this House our profound condolences to the family and friends of Obadiah Hercules Welshcombe and the constituents of Bimini and West Grand Bahama on their loss. And be it resolved that in recognition of the significant contributions of Obadiah Hercules Welshcombe to our nation's growth and development, we honor his memory today and further resolve to cherish his memory and to preserve his legacy in a tangible way. And be it resolved that we observe a moment of silence in memory of our fallen colleague, Obadiah Hercules Welshcombe, in recognition of his dedicated service, leadership, and commitment to the people of this nation.
In her tribute, Minister Hannah Martin remembered the leader of government business in the House of Assembly, his ministerial portfolios including Minister of Tourism, Minister of Social Services and Urban Development, and his last role before his demise, the Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting.
Many may note, and some may wonder, that despite his incredible gift of oratory, unmatched, he rarely spoke in this House, but facilitated debate for all other members and sought to manage the proceedings. This speaks volumes of his selflessness and his humility. Yes. Rare qualities in this business. Some have sought to make fun of him, but few, if any, can match his stride. It's not what your mouth says, it's what your heart does. I summarize and end in the simplest of terms. He had a heart full of love for this nation and for our Bahamian people. I don't think anyone can ever doubt or question this. He was principled in his life's journey, which was demonstrated over and over and over.
In seconding the resolution, Minister of Labor and Public Service, Pierre Glover noted that Minister Welshcombe's name is symbolic to the role he played in nation building.
Obadiah Hercules Welshcombe possessed the strength of his mythical namesake. His strength of character was certainly Herculean. He was a statesman to his core, a uniter, a leader with true compassion in the heart and in his heart for all people. I watched him take the reins at Social Services and grow so quickly into that role. You would think that he served as Minister of Social Services and Urban Development throughout many administrations. He was a fast learner. He was determined to make a difference for all Bahamians. And in doing so, those who relied on social services support to make it through each day, he wanted to make it a thing of dignity. As we saw in the news, even the day before his passing, he spoke passionately about the protection of our women and children and how we would go about pursuing that goal.
The resolution will be shared with the late minister's family, and a copy will be hung in the halls of Parliament. In preparation for the 2023 by-elections for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Arthur Taylor, acting parliamentary commissioner in the Parliamentary Registration Department, held a special press conference to provide in-depth insight into the upcoming West Grand Bahama and Bimini by-elections, clarifying the process while outlining essential protocols. Mr. Taylor is asking residents of the constituency to adhere to the following protocols.
On the day of the writ, as you would know, the Provost Marshal usually stands on the door or the steps of the house and read a writ of election. Everything stops at that time. Persons who are registering and transferring, it ceases to exist when that writ is read. After the writ, it takes 15 days to clean up the register, and on the 15th day, we now need to produce a register of voters for that election. That 15 days are not inclusive of holidays and Sundays. You have 15 days from the writ to do our work, and then we have to produce a register for that by-election. Since we are unsure of the date of the impending by-election, we want to now urge all constituents who are not registered and people needing to officially transfer their residency to the West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituency to do so now. Do not wait till the last minute, as you could find yourself out of time.
You are looking at video of the official ballot boxes arriving on Grand Bahama on Tuesday. Prospective voters who have not had an opportunity to register or wanting to transfer, you are required to meet the following criteria.
1. Must be a Bahamian citizen, 18 years or older. They must have resided in the West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituency for at least 3 months. They must provide proof of Bahamian citizenship, a Bahamian passport, a Bahamian citizenship certificate or registration of naturalization along with a Bahamian birth certificate, or a Bahamian birth certificate, an official government-issued ID, along with his or her mother's or father's Bahamian passport or Bahamian birth certificate. That was what would allow you to register for the first time as a Bahamian.
Registration centers will be open on both West and Grand Bahama and Bimini as follows.
The Administrators Complex in Jonestown, 8 Mile Rock, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And in 8 Mile Rock, the Mount Zion Baptist Church Hall, Jonestown, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Administrators Complex, Bayshore Road, West End, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. On Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And in Bimini, the George Weech Administrators Complex in Bimini, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then again 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Please note individuals living in the West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituency who are registered and are in the possession of the current purple voters registration card, you do not need to register again. Another homicide here in the capital pushes the murder count for the Bahamas to 80 for the year, according to Jcn's records. A man was shot and killed in the early hours this morning. Police say they were alerted to the area of Malcolm Road, west of Winders Terrace, by its shot spotter technology sometime around 2:28 a.m. When officers arrived, they met a 34-year-old male unresponsive inside a red-colored vehicle suffering from apparent gunshot injuries. Emergency medical personnel responded on scene and confirmed that there were no signs of life. Police are appealing to members of the public who may have additional information that can assist with the advancement of this matter to contact the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, at 502-9991, 502-9992, 502-9993, or you can call Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS, that's 328-8477, or call 911 or 919. The Bahamas remains on the European Union's blacklist. The Ministry of Finance, in a statement on Tuesday, says the EU's revised list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes was released on Tuesday, and the Bahamas was listed as one of those jurisdictions remaining on that list. The EU's determination was based on the recommendation of the OECD's Forum on Harmful Tax Practices held in April this year, before many of the Davis administration's reforms for economic substance were implemented. A country is considered to be a tax haven when it allows private companies or individuals to pay zero tax or taxed at a ridiculously low rate, thus allowing large corporations and the wealthy to circumvent the rules and avoid paying taxes in their own country. The next forum on harmful tax practices will be held at the end of this month. The government of the Bahamas is cautiously optimistic for a favorable review at that time. The statement continues, a favorable review following the next meeting will be considered by the EU in their February 2024 meeting. Add to that, the government has and continues to do everything in its power to address the compliance with the economic substance regime. And finally, in this segment, with the Bahamas remaining on the EU's list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, this is not sitting well with the official opposition. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard, in a statement, says the PLP administration continues record failure on commitments for the European Union tax compliance. Mr. Pintard claims that 2 years after Prime Minister Philip Davis and Attorney General Senator Ryan Pinder promised to take necessary actions, the Bahamas remains one of 16 countries on the blacklist, particularly due to what the EU said was a failure of the Bahamas to take all necessary actions to ensure the effective implementation of substance requirements under Criterion 2.2.
After committing in writing to the European Union from as far back as December 2021, and after earnest promises and blame shifting in October of 2022, the Prime Minister and his boastful Attorney General still have not been able to get the Bahamas off the European Union's tax blacklist. Instead, we have a distracted and unfocused Prime Minister and Cabinet who are too busy jet-setting around the world, profiling, flossing and flamming, instead of busying themselves with the hard work of governance to move our country forward. After 2 years of blaming the former administration and committing to fixing the issue, the Davis administration still has not accomplished what it said it would complete 20 months ago in December of 2021.
Meanwhile, the FNM leader says the opposition will continue to support the current administration and stand against the sometimes unfair and arbitrary rules and conditions placed on small sovereign nations such as the Bahamas.
We are often subject to different standards than larger countries concerning tax and finance matters. We will continue to support the government in all efforts to combat these instances where appropriate. However, we are also appreciative of the fact that, as a country, we have made commitments and signed on to protocols that require us to maintain established, globally accepted protocols around taxation, economic substance, and tax information exchange. We expect the Davis administration to live up to its word when it says it will preserve the reputation and integrity of the country as a credible international financial jurisdiction.
The opposition leader claims that the PLP has run out of excuses and out of time, and that it is well past time for Prime Minister Philip Davis and his team to stop showboating and get to work. We'll take a break here and we'll be right back after these commercials.